Welcome to Unit 10 of Introduction to Agent Team Building course, Retaining Quality, Productive Agents. After recruiting somebody to your team, the big key is how do you retain them? Well, I want to talk about that in this unit and our next unit on culture. The bottom line, after all of my experience of coaching teams across the country, managing, being a broker in 3 companies that had teams in it, and running my own teams, I'm going to tell you it really does come down to this. When whether or not people voice this even applies to any brokers listening about why do people leave one company and join another. And I'm going to tell you it is not always about, and generally I'm going to tell you number one on the list is not the commission split, and it's not leads. Everybody thinks that's why people leave. Those are nice bonus extras, but it's not the reason somebody might leave a company that they've been established in and come join your team or join your brokerage. Here is what I know from my experience, and I know this for sure, 28 years later. They want, number one, leadership. They want a broker, a manager, a team leader, and all of the above. If they're joining your team, they want to make sure that you're in a company that has broker support and has their back. They can trust and know that that support is there for them. That is really almost number one on everybody's list. Next, people really do want to have a quality. It doesn't always have to be a big box, a big brand, but even in this virtual sort of world we're living in now, where more people are working remotely and from home, that's a trend that's been happening for years. People still want to be able to have a professional office space. They don't necessarily need a physical office. They just want a place to be able to meet clients. And they want to be able to leverage the technology and the space, the professional looking space that they could bring somebody to. Yes, we can meet people at the local coffee shop and other places, but don't underestimate the value of having a nice location for people to be able to come into, and that would be, if your team doesn't necessarily have to be your own office. I do not think you need to provide any kind of office space for team members. Not at all. I'm just talking about an area that people can meet clients and do business that's outside of their home. And finally, people really do want business building tools. So they want that support and that coaching, but they also want the things that they're not doing themselves, these systems, all these things I've been talking about in this introduction class. This is what everybody wants. They want to be able to be mentored, be coached, be supported, be part of something bigger than themselves. The commission splits, the leads are a bonus, okay? It really is. Now, I have a link to something from 2017 from Inman. It was a special report on real estate, a team, just a survey they did on teams. And I just wanted to back up what I've just stated from my own personal experience. There's also some other things that have been out there on teams from folks doing surveys, and they all say the same thing. So these are the key takeaways. There's a link below for you to be able to go read the report yourself. It's from 2017, but the key takeaways I got from this article: a well-run real estate team offers agents work-life balance, and that they're ultimately greater than the sum of their parts. That's that part about belonging, and it takes a village. It's difficult to do all this by yourself. Nearly 60% of real estate pros that they surveyed would consider joining a real estate team or starting a team of their own. This is why we created the Real Estate Team Builder program back in late 2015. We kind of wrote the book on real estate agent team building from our own personal experience in coaching just hundreds of people across the country and in our companies. Really, it's thousands of people when we talk about all the people we've coached in our own companies. So what were some of the things that people were asked in the survey? Why join or start a real estate team? 56% of the people surveyed said to expand their business opportunities. Also, 56% of the people asked that question said to be a mentor or receive mentorship. I'm telling you, that is the biggest reason. You've got to be able to have them. I'll talk a little bit about coaching and how you set that coaching up, because that is going to be your number one reason people are going to stay with you, because you're constantly helping them grow professionally and personally. 53% said to gain experience as a newer agent, learn the business better. 50% said to provide more effective representation for clients. Again, that whole mentality of more is better than just the one person. And 35% said to create an exit strategy. Well, what do you think of that? Because that is the bottom line. Let's talk a little bit more about coaching your agents to success. I truly believe you have got to provide a coaching environment. This is what I did in all of my companies. This is how I attracted agents to come work with me in my various offices and on my team, is this this idea of helping them. The major value proposition, besides all the tools and the resources, and yes, leads, we do leads on our team, it is first and foremost, I believe what the attraction is, if you were to ask anybody on my team, is the fact that they're getting mentored and coached by myself and my co-team leader in different areas, in marketing, in lead conversion, and for me, overall, helping them with their business, plugging into all the systems that we have. So here's a couple tips on things that I share when I'm coaching coaches, training coaches. I want to talk about three things. Okay, number one, active listening and observation. So a great coach is good at listening. All right, you have to be able to let people speak, listen to what the issues are. If somebody's sitting down and sharing with you in a coaching session where the frustrations are coming from or what's not working for them, you need to be able to listen to them first and be able to repeat back and reflect back what the issue is. I learned this a long time ago. This is how I used to be. I was a fixer, remember, from an earlier lesson. It's about fixing. Let me fix that problem for you, new agent. Let me fix that. Let me fix that. That doesn't really serve somebody well. You might be easy just to answer people's questions and help them. And I'm not saying you don't, if you're experienced and you're helping somebody who's not as experienced, you're going to answer their questions, but you want to do it in a learning way so that you ask them, how do you think you should solve that problem about this walkthrough where the buyer now doesn't want to close the transaction? Let's talk it through. Most people generally have a solution or an idea. They just want to run it by you and get that affirmation. That's what a good coach does. Listens and reflects back and reinforces the direction and provides that guidance and feedback. The next thing I want to talk about is questions attract, statements repel. The benefits of asking versus telling. So this works in all relationships, definitely in coaching, and working with your clients also. It's the whole idea of establishing rapport first. It's not about, let me tell you how I'm going to fix that problem for you, agent, client, whatever the case may be. So asking questions is way more empowering and is going to be able to have people get involved in the process of learning through the coaching process or overcoming a problem, a resolution, solving a conflict, resolving a problem. So remember, ask questions, don't tell people what they should do. Next, better listening and deeper understanding. I just kind of talked a little bit about that, but the whole idea here is by asking questions and then stopping and listening, you're gathering all the information that you need to get a better understanding of how to work with your agent. Again, these things I'm talking to you about is exactly how you work with a client, with anybody, right? So be a better listener. And then the follow-up around coaching is the right answer will not be imposed by you. It's going to be found and owned by your agent who will be more motivated to follow up. So if you follow that sequence of listening, active listening, asking questions, getting them to talk about what the issue is, helping them come to the conclusion as opposed to here's the 3 things I want you to go do, that you're going to have a better environment and a better coaching relationship that the people are going to be able to grow in and get the support. You're going to provide the support and they're going to get better results. And the last piece on this is empowerment through accountability. Okay, so now we're getting down to those were skill sets about listening and providing feedback. Now we really need to get down to great coaching and in your team really needs to be about holding people accountable to what they tell you are their goals. So we're not going to say, hey, to be on my team, you can do this, but I don't think you're going to find a great, I don't know. It might be an interesting team, but I think it's definitely more enjoyable and it's going to be a better environment if you get people to be on your team and share with you what their goals are and then you support those goals. Okay? Now, if you're saying the only people that come on my team have to close at least 2 deals a month, okay, great. Then you're going to probably go through a bunch of people to find the people that are going to do 2 deals a month. But whatever you want to do here, you have to focus on empowering people through accountability based on not things you tell them, that what they tell you they're committed to doing. Now, how do you do that? Well, you start by doing that business plan. You have them sit down and do their goals. They give you that feedback. And then I highly recommend that you set up coaching sessions at least monthly. In the beginning, when you bring somebody on, remember you're going to have this 90 to 120 day onboarding. But what I do on my team is I do continuing one-on-one coaching appointments. In the beginning, when they're first on the team, it might be every couple weeks, might even be once a week till I get them onboarded. Then it goes to about once a month. It's a personal one-on-one coaching session where I'm working with my team member to help them with their setting up their business systems, solving any problems that they might have, providing additional development, helping them, really become a greater agent. My partner also provides the ongoing accountability with our leads team, and this is another great idea. If you are, whether you're providing leads or not, everybody has people that should be following up with, and one of the biggest issues for everyone, me included, is not scheduling the time religiously and regularly in your week to make phone calls, okay, to follow up, to do that business building and lead generation that you need to do to keep your business where you want it to be. So we use Zoom accountability meetings 2 to 3 times a week, scheduled at various times. The commitment is everybody on the team can come to any of them, but they must come to one of them. And all we're doing is providing a little bit of a coaching session up front, talking through positives, maybe doing some role playing. Then everybody can mute their Zoom, and we're all on video, so we're holding each other accountable to making the calls, and then we decide to come back in about 45 minutes, an hour later, share what's happened. It's also an opportunity for Cosmo or myself to pull somebody into a separate room in Zoom and listen to a call and give them some immediate role play. Very powerful technique. That's accountability. That's what we're talking about for the day-to-day stuff, and then ongoing coaching appointments to help them with their business development. And then in between, you're going to be helping people just like a small broker does, but like you are a small broker if you're a team leader. It's helping people, answering questions, helping them solve their problems in their transactions. All right? So in those recurring monthly sessions, you're covering everything from their business plan to everything they're doing in their sphere of influence. You're walking through all those systems, and you're helping them fine-tune it. It takes a while. People don't have any of this. So it takes a while to get them to fine-tune their buyer system, their seller system, what they're doing for farming, what they're doing for online reputation management and client reviews, all the things that you need to do, you and your agents need to do to be successful in the business, okay? So retaining quality agents really comes around to listening, being a better listener, and providing excellent coaching in an environment that they can thrive in. We're going to talk more about your culture in Unit 11.